Hi, welcome to this week's Institute class on studying the scriptures. I want to just run through with you a couple of things in this week's Come Follow Me reading and a study technique that can help us better gain access to the words and phrases that we find in the scriptures. So I want us to have a look at Genesis 16. So if you look at Genesis 16, this is the account of Sarah and Hagar, and Sarah giving Hagar over to Abraham as a second wife, with the objective of being able to bring prosperity and children into their home. Once Hagar conceives, Sarah, you can imagine, feels upset about this after trying so long to have children and not being able to have them. And she felt judged by the Lord, so she dealt hardly or harshly with her, and then she left. So we've got this account here where Hagar is sort of leaves, she's in the wilderness, she feels sort of abandoned, and the Lord sends her an angel and talks to her and invites her to go back to be with Abraham and gives her a promise. And in verse 13, we've got this verse that says this: "And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God seest me. For she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me?" Now, unless you can understand that really well, or we can have a look at another translation that will hopefully sort of translate that a little bit better, that isn't a really easy verse to kind of get your head around some of the words and phrases in there. In the Scripture Study Skill Teacher Manual, there's this thing called Finding the Meaning of Words and Phrases. And it just shares some resources like dictionaries, Gospel Library app, footnotes, Guide to the Scriptures, Bible Dictionary, Joseph Smith translation. It gives you a few sort of things to model through and have a look at that. You can practice and have a look at some of the different words that you can bring up and have a look through, and ways that you can sort of gain access to them. I'm going to share with you just one additional way that I use sometimes when I'm struggling with sort of the phraseology of words. So for this one, I would copy out that scripture. I'd use ChatGPT or Gemini or one of just an AI tool, and I'd type in something like, what is the meaning of this verse? And are there any Hebrew translations that would help me to understand it? And then I paste in the scripture, and then I just hit through. And some of the things that comes up are, like, for example, this one, El Roi, and it says it's usually translated as Thou God seest me, the God who sees me, God of seeing, or more precisely, God who sees me personally. I don't always take these as fact. So sometimes the ChatGPT can be wrong. You want to fact check some of these things. So you could just copy this Hebrew translation here, pop it into Google, and then just type in El Roi meaning, and then scroll down to, I'm going to use Wikipedia for now, but here we are. This is a phrase, and it sort of talks about it, the different translations, and it says the God who sees me, or the God who sees. And so you can take from this, and it kind of refers to Hagar and Sarah and that situation from Genesis. So this is a really good example, kind of fact checking. The other one is the Blue Letter Bible that I've shared with you in the past. So have a look at the previous one, and you can fact check some of the Hebrew words and meanings in there. And again, you can kind of look through some of this. Particularly this phrase here is not really easy to understand, but when it gives you the translation here, it helps us to understand that phrase a lot better. So have I really seen the one who sees me? And have I remained alive after seeing him who sees me? Or here in this place, I have seen the one who sees me. And so there are quite a lot of like extra and then deep meaning, and kind of go through and read through some of these theological insights. And obviously it's connected to me because I look at lots of LDS theological insights, so it's given me that. And then, yeah, just kind of look through and have a look at some of these ways in which you can gain access and better understanding and fact checking some of these verses. And we learn from this particular scripture, one of the things that I really like about this particular verse is the fact that this is the first time that someone names God in Scripture. It's not Abraham, it's not Moses, it's Hagar, an outcast. And I think that's powerful when we feel outcast or we feel like we're struggling with different things. God sees us. He knows where we are. He knows our situation, and He can bless us in ways that will help us sort of move forward through some of the difficult trials and struggles that we face in this life. I really hope you like this technique. Have a go at it. Try and pick another verse of scripture from this week's reading that you just don't really understand fully and see if you can find more meaning in the words and phrases. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful week. Take care. Bye.